Okay, so let's click on this guy's video and debunk his video.
Well, hello there, Anthony. People around the globe will hear about this legendary encounter. Alright, probs not, but how else was I going to work the word globe into the video? Damn it backfired on me. The intro really fell flat, didn't it? Anyway, Anthony made a video that I decided to debunk just when I moved into my house, so the quality was a bit poor. Sorry, but I'll make it up for you today. Turns out he has responded, so let's cringe at what we both say in his video.
Today we've got Anthony Bear, who, unlike Level Earth Observer, actually admits he's a flat earther.
Ooh, I'm a flat earther. That means I'm dumb. But I actually like this guy. He's real calm. He explains himself very well.
Aw, Anthony, I like you too. Though I think it's more about that I knew that Metalica was playing in the background. Just to be clear though, that was a dig at Level Earth Observer, who avoids calling himself a flat earther despite believing the Earth is flat. Just maybe differently to others, but never clarifies. Whereas you make things clearer because you actually demonstrate somewhat what you believe. But I'll be adding a couple of reasons why flat Earth doesn't work at the end of this video, based on the sun.
You gotta remember, it's not 99% of the world is in light. It's 99% of the world's population is in light.
So he thinks I have the world population and the world itself mixed up. Now look, the whole world is lit up. 99% of the population and 99% of the world is lit up.
I'm glad you understood what I was saying. Yes, that's exactly what you're confused on. 99% of people on Earth were experiencing some measure of daylight, including late evening and early morning. Because I wasn't doing research while addressing the issues, my explanations were poor, being done without a script to work with, pretty much because I'd just moved into a house and didn't really have my full setup. I'll let it continue before I make it clear on what you're confused about.
So a lot of the population from Russia is on one side. China's also relatively close-ish. I mean, it might just be in light. They got America, who also might just be in light. I don't really know, but that's just my first instance. I will probably look it up.
So he doesn't really know, but he knows that I'm wrong.
Yeah, I was being honest. It was my first guess at what they were saying along with your response to it. So, 99% of the population, or maybe it would be easier to explain with 99% of land mass, is in some form of daylight. The land is not the entirety of the Earth. Here's the map again, but joining the dark sides instead. So, it's not nearly 100% of the globe is in light, it's population, or landmass. Last time I checked, there aren't any cities of people in the ocean, unless Aquaman was a documentary.
It's hard to view the scale of the world when it's in a picture or a map, like it is shown there. Because it's a globe, you wrap that around a globe, the scales are going to change.
Okay, so he says my scale is wrong. I'm using a globe as a model. So how can the scale be wrong? That doesn't make any sense.
Look, I understand that you're defensive. Explaining your beliefs to people must be difficult and gets negative responses most of the time, but I wasn't stating that your scale was wrong. I was still trying to figure it out, to be honest, and while going through it, I was talking about their map. Because I did explain it in the video before, and here's what I put in the video before. This is an accurate flat map to scale. Not flat Earth map. Just a flat map. Picturing one like this makes the landmass's scale go off. This is kind of just showing that I question all data, even the data that's meant to support the globe, just to make sure that I understand before I agree to anything that I'll regret later.
A bit of fade going through, even their little graph is trying to show that the Earth is fading. I mean, technically.
So he admits there's a fade. That's why the whole world is lit up. That's why 99% of the population is lit up, because of the fade.
You see, what I was trying to explain is that the faded section is obviously the transitions from day and night. So some areas that are dark but still receiving a little sunlight are being used to help make that number reach 99%. Because this is the news, they're trying to include the extremes of the data, partly to get better views and partly because it's fun. Although they are right, they're not claiming that it's bright daylight over 99% of the surface of the Earth, just population or landmass for clarity, and that includes a time where it's going into morning, which is still dark-ish, and the time where it's going into night, where it's still dark-ish.
Okay, so now here's a model. Now, if the Earth was a flying ball through space, and the sun was shining on it, wouldn't there be a definitive line? Let's watch day and night from the ISS. Now, on the left side there, check how sharp that line is. Sunrise. Daylight coming. And it's green. I don't know why it's green.
The green aura is the refracted light from the sun's light passing through the atmosphere.
Okay, and wow, look at that sharp line. Whoa, that's what you expect, right? It'd be a sharp line. Now, obviously, this video from the ISS is fake because it should have like a quarter of the globe fade in it. But there's no fade. That means when they photoshopped it, they forgot the fade.
What we saw in the video you showed us of the ISS was light reacting with the atmosphere. That wasn't really the day-night cycle. It was a sunrise. But from the angle with the ISS, it's not quite the same thing. This is the Earth from the ISS crossing from day to night. If you think the evidence you are using is fake, then you shouldn't be using it to support your claims. Do I really need to defend that dusk and dawn are real and that the sun doesn't immediately switch off when it's out of our visual range? I know my previous video wasn't great, but I have learnt something here. The importance of making clear and precise videos. So, at least thank you for that lesson, Anthony. I was just talking about the fade of daylight between day to night and night to day. Also, why is the International Space Station fake and how are they getting away with that? I am genuinely intrigued by your opinions on this.
And this time I did it standing upright, so it'd be easier to understand, maybe. Here's our definitive line. Now, what I'm saying is, too much of the Earth is lit up to be on a globe. On timeanddate.com, you can't lie about when things are lit up and not. Indonesia, here it'd be lit up. Now let's cruise over to the other side. Half of this part of South America should be lit up. Half the United States should be lit up.
Now you're welcome to be defensive here, because the scale's off. We don't even really need to get specific. Your Earth model is larger than your light source, which is not accurate to reality. And distance is another thing you'll have to consider, because I guarantee you that light source is way too close.
A bit of fade going through, even their little graph is trying to show that the Earth is fading. I mean, technically this area is dark, and that's got quite...
So he's showing you it's dark past the United States, and only half the United States should be lit up. So he's actually agreeing with me.
In the sense that 99% of the population is in some form of daylight, yes. But it's why that we disagree. Remember, this is somehow meant to be proving flat Earth.
Expand this number to fit in, because they're just about getting a little bit of light in there. And same on this side, I guess. I mean, to be fair, it is actually showing a lot of Russia in this graph, but you get my point. This isn't a perfect representation.
This is dateandtime.com, where they show daylight and night they show daylight and night, and it also shows like sunset and sunrise. So everybody uses that or else it wouldn't work. So it's more accurate than he thinks.
Yes and no. As I said earlier, I was talking about the map specifically. The light distribution is more accurate than I thought. Yeah, look, I got sidetracked, okay? I'm sorry. It won't happen again. On the other hand, I'm glad you think it's accurate, because it does show 50% of light coverage over the Earth itself, which isn't possible on a flat Earth with a local sun. If we were to presuppose that the Earth was flat, then we'd need a completely new understanding on the physics of light itself. It wouldn't make sense for the sun's light to warp around the way it does, because we don't see a spotlight sun.
So maybe I could explain this better. But then again, I don't feel like I need to go too in-depth on it, because if you think about it, he believes in flat Earth.
Oh, he drilled me again.
Yeah, okay, that was directed at flat earthers in general.
I actually think I'm more like a flat waterer.
That makes sense, but flat waterer or flat water earther, it just doesn't have the same ring to it, you know? But I get the point, mountains are not proof against flat Earth.
I think water's flat. I actually went on the ice and measured it. If you go, you can check out one of my videos, the 2-mile ice test. And I measured the ice for 2 miles and it's flat. It should have 32 inches of curve. And it doesn't. So I'm more like a flat waterer. Water lays scientifically flat.
Water is not flat, not even scientifically. It's level. The difference between flat and level is that level accounts for curvature. To be fair, I think someone better tell Level Earth Observer that. And if enough people want me to check out your 2-mile ice video, then maybe I will.
Having 99% of the world in light is pretty much the only way flat Earth would work. The fact that we don't experience that every day is a problem to the flat Earth.
Now, John hasn't studied flat Earth much, and we say that the sun sets due to perspective, like it moves away from us.
I'm offended. I can't believe you'd say I haven't studied flat Earth enough. Joking, of course. But actually, I have studied it. I found out that most flat earthers don't even agree with each other. For example, gravity. Some say the Earth is accelerating, to which I say it would have to accelerate forever, eventually hitting close to the speed of light. where time dilation issues would arise. Others say it's electromagnetism, but not everything is magnetic. Others say it's buoyancy, which actually requires gravity to exist. Maybe there's more explanations for gravity. Let me know yours. As for the sun and perspective, let's move a bit further before I explain.
So he's saying that the whole Earth would be lit up.
Model. As demonstrated by him right now. Look, we got the spotlight. If this was a ball of fire, like the sun, it would be spreading light in all directions. He's currently using a spotlight, which is creating those definitive lines that were also an issue before.
I appreciate that he wasn't going to start getting pernickety with me, stating ball of fire. The sun is more like plasma, not fire. It's ionized gas particles.
And here's our sun. Now, John's saying that if the sun's out, the whole Earth has to light up, which is not true. On the flat Earth model, the sun is small and local. So, and this time I'm going to use a little tiny light this time, the smallest one I can find. I think it's still too bright. But anyway, here's where the sun is at 11:15 UTC time at what we're talking about. So now let's lift it straight up. Now you see, the whole Earth is lit up except for Australia over there. So it makes total sense here. But it doesn't make any sense on a ball because there's too many things on the back side that can't be lit up when it does it perfectly here. And it has a fade, right? There's a fade here going on. So let's say you were standing here in Africa and the sun is coming around, like you're in the dark right now.
Either way, flat Earth or globe Earth, the sun is a ball that emits light equally in all directions. So sunlight is expected to warp around edges because the distance is greater from the sun to the outer area than it is to the centre. Also, as we mentioned earlier, sunlight covers about 50% of the globe. As you can see by your own spotlight analogy here, we don't have 50% coverage. But I do have some more particular interesting questions later on, so hopefully Anthony will answer them for us. As for perspective, the idea that the further something is, the harder it is to see, because of things getting in the way or looking through a thick fog makes it harder to see through. As I've said, flat earthers say different things. As for the atmosphere acting like fog, assuming a clear day, the sun doesn't actually fade away, so that actually doesn't work at all. But mountains, forests or buildings, yeah, sure, I understand the logic, but try the ocean. The water is flat, as you said, so what's getting in the way here? Tidal waves? For this to be the case, the sun would have to shrink massively in size until it was imperceivable, which it just doesn't do.
Okay, I hope I explained it better this time. I'm going to go with no to the globe.
Yes, you did. That was great, thanks. And I hope I gave a better understanding as to why daylight doesn't work for your flat Earth this time. Not even the model works, and you have to have multiple different models to make it work anyway. As for sunlight on the flat Earth, I'm going to say things get really weird. But as I said at the beginning, I want to ask a few questions. I have 3. Number 1, why is it colder on mountains? If the sun were closer, then higher elevations would receive more intense solar emissions, but instead it's colder. Why? Number 2, it's commonly known that Sweden during late May to mid-July, the sun never sets. You get the midnight sun. We know why it happens on the globe, and on the flat Earth I suppose it's because it's northern, near the centre of the disk. But flat Earth doesn't explain why it only happens during a certain time of year. Surely the sun disappears because of perspective, which is what I'm challenging right now. It should either happen or not happen. It can't switch between disappearing into the distance and not being able to disappear in the distance. The sun travels the same distance. Number 3, same situation of the sun never setting, because it clearly has some merit in the north, but wouldn't it be a shame if it happened in the south as well? The Antarctic Circle is a region where the sun never sets in the south. This is the flat Earth map. How does the sun illuminate the edges only? Thank you for watching, and I'm greatly looking forward to Anthony checking out this video instead. Anyway, if you want more, there are 2 videos on screen right now. Feel free to click on one and I'll see you there.